We have a lot of injury news to break down surrounding the Miami Heat. I am Nic Rohloff. This is the Heat Report by Chat Sports. Miami got a win yesterday against the Washington Wizards to move to 29-31 on the year. But there was a lot of players that were not available in that game, and we will take a look at when those players could return and if they are out for a longer period of time. But make sure you do hit that sub button because we are 25 subscribers away from 19,600. We go live for almost every single Heat game. We'll be live on Wednesday for the Cavs game, on Friday for the Timberwolves game. Hit that sub button. Videos covering the Heat in between each game as well. Let's get to 19,600 on today's show. All right, the injured Heat players that we're going to discuss on this episode: Kel'el Ware, Andrew Wiggins, Davion Mitchell, and Jaime Jaquez Jr. Obviously, Wiggins and Mitchell were acquired at the trade deadline and have been pretty solid additions when they've been able to play on the court. Ware has been coming along as that starting center, and Jaquez the disappointing second year. And we'll get to Kel'el Ware first, but I do want to show some love to Bam Adebayo real quick. So spam your 13s down in the comments section. Why? With his double-double against the Wizards last night, he became the Heat's franchise leader in all-time double-doubles, passing Ronnie Cycli. So shout out to that. Thanks, Cycli. I always say it wrong, and it gets me in the head, the Greek peak. Either way, shout out to Bam Adebayo. Spam those 13s down in the comment section. All right, let's get to Kel'el Ware now and his injury news because, as we know, on Sunday afternoon, Heat Knicks, late in that game, third quarter, last play of the quarter, he got his knee rolled up on by Mitchell Robinson, and it was revealed on Monday morning that it was a sprained knee following that game against the New York Knicks. And when you get a sprained knee, that could keep you out for a wide variety of times. Now, the good news on Kel'el Ware's knee is that the MRI showed no structural damage, which means it's not that serious, and it's not going to be a super long absence for Kel'el Ware. Now, I do expect it to be some time here. A sprained knee is nothing that you want to rush back. And in a season for the Miami Heat that ultimately seems that it's headed for the play-in, nothing worse, nothing better. It's better to just be safe than sorry with Kel'el Ware. Do not rush him back because you do not want to make this injury worse because it very much well could have. When you watch the replay of Mitchell Robinson falling into Kel'el Ware's knee, you first think holy crap, thank God he does not tear an MCL or an ACL. When you look at the photo right here, you automatically, at least I do, and maybe it's because I'm a pessimist, but when you look at this photo, I think, oh my God, his knee is going to be absolutely cooked. Full body weight of Mitchell Robinson right into the back of his knee, calf bending inwards. And the fact that it's only a sprained knee, you look at that photo even more, that ankle and calf situation could have went flat down to the ground and been absolutely cooked. So I'm glad that Ware has only got a sprained knee. I know it sounds bad, but it could have been a whole lot worse. And it's quite the bummer because through three quarters against the Knicks on Sunday, I thought that was his best game of the season. Now, if you look raw box score watching, it would not be the case for Kel'el Ware. He's had multiple 20-point games with double-digit rebounds. Yeah, he's been great. But the activity level that Kel'el Ware was displaying against the Knicks on Sunday was second to none. In his 29 minutes, he nearly had a double-double, 12 points, 8 boards, with a ridiculous 6 blocks while shooting a good 6 of 7 from the field. I mean, this was great. He was everywhere defensively. He was boxing out, battling inside with Cat, OG Anunoby, and Mitchell Robinson at a high level. I don't know what he ate that morning. Must have been his Wheaties, but he was playing at a very high level. And if you get that Kel'el Ware on a 75-80% basis going forward, then you are going to have a very dangerous starting center on your hands. And overall, Ware's rookie season has been a very pleasant surprise. In a down, disappointing year for Miami, Ware has not been one of those disappointments. And I only look at his statistics since he started to become a main piece of this rotation. What do I mean by that? Well, beginning of the year, he's playing at best 5-6 minutes a game. Then he started to get 12-13 minutes a game as that backup center. But then we all know that breakout game against the San Antonio Spurs in mid-January. Since then, he's become the starter next to Bam Adebayo, averaging 30 minutes a game, nearly a double-double, shooting well from the field. Three-point percentage is taking a dip, but that was expected. His 42% early on in the year on low efficiency and volume was to be expected that it would come down, but still fine as he'll continue to get better in that range. But here's the final conclusion on the Kel'el Ware injury here. Heat dodged a big-time bullet with his knee injury only being a sprain. This is a foundation piece of this Heat organization moving forward. We'll see what ultimately happens this offseason via free agency and trades. I would expect Ware to be back on this roster next season, but you never know if some crazy player becomes available. Maybe they would be willing to move on from Kel'el Ware. But either way, it's good to see him only have a knee sprain. He should be back within 1 to 3 weeks, I would have to say. It will depend on how he's feeling. He obviously came back in overtime in that game after not playing the entire fourth quarter. We'll see when he returns. I would probably go anywhere between 1 and 3 weeks, hopefully closer than to a week. All right, a couple other injuries to talk about. Andrew Wiggins and Davion Mitchell. Andrew Wiggins, sprained ankle, has missed the last 3 games. Davion Mitchell, quad contusion. Wiggins did not play against the Pacers, Knicks, and Wizards. Mitchell did not play against the Wizards after getting banged up against the New York Knicks. Now, the good news on both of these players, at least in my opinion, is that they were both questionable for the game against the Wizards on Monday. Wiggins was listed as questionable early. Davion Mitchell was added to the injury report late, so it wasn't even something that the Heat knew about quite seriously after that Knicks game. So with those guys both being questionable and being held out against a shorthanded Wizards team, I would expect Wiggins and Mitchell both to be back in the starting lineup for the Miami Heat on Wednesday against the Cavs. The question is, who will start in place of Kel'el Ware against the Cavaliers team that starts 2 centers in Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley? All right, we're going to get to Jaime Jaquez Jr. here in just a second, but we are sponsored by Prize Picks, the best daily fantasy sports platform that I play on a daily basis. All you do is pick more or less on 2 or more player stat projections, and you can win up to 1,000 times your cash on Prize Picks right now. You can play in so many different ways: season long, daily, power play, flex play. That's the invention from Prize Picks. You can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if your picks doesn't hit. They also offer weekly promotions like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. Think Steph Curry will get more than 5 3-pointers? Giannis more than 35 points? Cook up your hot takes with your hot friends and win real money this basketball season when you and your crew run your game on Prize Picks. I have an entry for tonight's action in the association, even with no Heat game. 3 more. Ty Jerome. He's been on a heater this season. I think he'll go more than 1.5 3-pointers. I'll go with Zion against the Lakers, primetime, 34.5 points, rebounds, assists. And then this is one that I find interesting. Harrison Barnes, more than half a steal. Hasn't had a steal in his last 5 games. He is due. Give me Barnes to have a steal tonight for the Spurs. All right, that is my entry for today, but join me and the millions of others on Prize Picks. Download the app, use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. One more time, download the app today, use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, let's move over to Triple J, Jaime Jaquez Jr., because I think he will still be out for Wednesday and potentially Friday, Saturday as well. He has a sprained ankle. He was doubtful on Monday, which tells you where he is in relation to Andrew Wiggins, because Wiggins was questionable. Jaquez was doubtful, so he's clearly just behind Wiggins in terms of his recovery at this point. And depending on the severity of a sprained ankle, that could be anywhere between 1 to 2.5, 3 weeks, kind of like a sprained knee. In Jaquez, it looked bad as well when you flash back to when he suffered that injury. Sorry, should have probably put a warning on this gruesome little look if you can't stomach it. But that ankle is almost perpendicular with the ground. That is a nasty ankle turn right there. He was in a lot of pain leaving the game on Friday against the Pacers, and I would expect him to be out for the game against the Cavs and probably the back-to-back as well this Friday, Saturday against the Timberwolves and the Bulls. But I actually want to take this conversation somewhere else, because with Jaquez being out, it actually allowed Larsson to get some PT. With Jaquez and Wiggins out on Monday, Larsson played against the Wizards, and he was absolutely terrific. And I got to be honest, with the season heading the way it is, I would leave Larsson in the rotation over Jaime Jaquez Jr., even when the Heat are fully healthy at this point. Larsson showed me a lot of good things against the Washington Wizards. He had a career-high 16 points, followed it up with 5 assists, 4 rebounds, shot pretty well from the field. He is someone that is aggressive defensively, attacks the glass. He is good out in transition. I have become a big fan of Larsson. I remember watching him in the summer league, watching him in the preseason. This is someone Eric Spoelstra likes a lot, knows his role, does the little things correctly, can play at the top of that zone, can D up in man. There is one issue that he has, which we'll discuss here in just a second, but I do want to get your thoughts real quickly. When fully healthy, who should be playing more and who should be higher in this Miami Heat rotation? If you think it's the second-round pick out of Arizona, Larsson, type PL. If you want to roll with the 18th overall pick from 2023, Jaime Jaquez Jr., type those triple Js. Because when I talk about it, and I would be typing my Larssons, when you look at who is the better player, and you look at individual pieces of this player and Heat team that they need, shooting, Larsson's a better shooter than Jaime Jaquez Jr. Even though he shot 1 of 4 yesterday against Washington, he is a much more capable three-point shooter and a much more bigger threat in the catch-and-shoot three-point land than Jaime Jaquez Jr. I think the two can defend at an equal rate. Jaquez is pretty good at defensive, and he actually has something over Larsson that I'll talk about here in just a second. But in terms of creation and ball handling, I'll give it to Larsson. Do I think Palau is the craziest handle and can play make for others? No, not really. But Jaquez is so poor at that and turns the ball over so much in transition and inside the paint in crowded areas that Larsson, just from the fact that he doesn't do it and drive into 2 or 3 people inside the paint, gets that kind of leg up for me. The only thing that Larsson struggles with is his fouls. He cannot defend without fouling. And I'm sure Spoelstra would rather have that than not defending, because Larsson is an aggressive defender that likes to get up into you, create havoc, be physical, and it will often lead to him getting a little bit too physical and him getting whistled for a foul. But the reason why I like Larsson, Larsson knows his role. He plays it well. In his limited playing time, when he comes in, he knows what he's expected to do. Expected to make the hustle plays, rebound, cut off ball, finish inside, and knock down a catch-and-shoot open 3 if the defense gives it to him. I think Larsson has a bright future. I would play him over Jaime Jaquez Jr. going forward with the rest of the season in this Heat rotation. The second-round pick out of Arizona showed me a lot of nice things against the Wizards on Monday, and I want to see more of him in this group to see if he could be a long-term rotation player going forward in this Heat organization. All right, that will do it for today's episode of the Heat Report. Make sure you are subscribed. We'll be back tomorrow for a live show, Heat versus Cavaliers. Let's hope the Heat are able to get a win. It's going to be tough. Cavs' best team in the Eastern Conference. And it's on prime time. It's on ESPN, where the Heat never play well. So hopefully we do better than usual. But either way, hit that sub button. Let's get to 19,600 and join us tomorrow.